relaxing wander together through this beautiful landscape. But things might look a bit different than what you're accustomed to. That's because today we are wandering in Skyrim VR, virtual reality, which will hopefully provide you with a different perspective on this familiar world. Essentially, you will be seeing Skyrim through my eyes. So, things might be a little bit shakier than you're used to, but they will also hopefully be more immersive. You will see what I see, and I will of course be interacting with the environment, trying to show you what I find most beautiful here. So I hope you enjoy this unique perspective. It's not the very first time that we've wandered in Skyrim VR, but it has been a very long time. And so I wanted to explain what it is that you are seeing here. We begin our wander today here in this small camp, which is exactly where we left off last time, quite some time ago. We spent the night sleeping here and getting to know these fine individuals. And now it's time to head back out into the wilds. It's early morning here in the rift, and the sun has just started to rise over in the east, over the distant mountains. I always find the rift to be deeply idyllic, with all its gorgeous, colorful aspen trees and beautiful flowers, and a wide array of birds, it would seem. Now, we have, of course, wandered through the rift before, and in fact, we've wandered across many, many parts of Skyrim over the years. Can you believe it's been 11 years since we first met one another, and nearly as long since we first began wandering here in Skyrim. In that time, we have seen so much of this place. We have wandered the breadth and length of this stunning land. ascended the 7,000 steps to the peak of the throat of the world. And so, today, we are going to be making that journey to visit the Greybeards at High Hrothgar. Way up there. This is an epic journey, and not without its perils. But I believe that we can still have a beautiful and relaxing experience. What's more, I have heard tell of something very interesting. Apparently, the monks of High Hrothgar, the Greybeards as they are called, are accomplished brewers. And legend has it that there is a very special brew fit for a champion, the likes of which you can find nowhere else in all of Skyrim, that is brewed by the Greybeards at High Hrothgar. And my friends, I can think of no greater a prize or more worthy a goal for us on this, the 11th anniversary of our time together, than to acquire a bottle of this fabled ale and enjoy it at the highest point in Skyrim. And so that is our goal here today. However, it is quite a ways away from here, and it will be quite the journey. And so we'd best start making our way there. And the first challenge is carefully making our way down this rather precarious slope. This is the thing. When I have you seeing out of my eyes, I have to be that much more aware of what I am looking at and how quickly I'm moving my head and my body. And it's not an easy task, as it turns out. But I think it provides a truly unique perspective. And we can experience the falling leaves of the rift, the gentle butterflies, the gorgeous mountain flowers together in a way that we couldn't otherwise. Isn't it stunning? Even just moving through the grass like this becomes something special. Well, the sun is truly out now, isn't it? High up in the sky. Filtering down through the aspen leaves, lighting them up, creating dappled shadows. I believe this journey today is going to be for my soul. I already feel more relaxed just hearing the sighing of the wind in the trees, appreciating the warmth of the sun. I have no idea what that noise over there is. There's all kinds of strange noises around here. It's probably just a bird or something. I was debating whether we would head over that way, down the path that way, and make our way to Ivarstead across the rim of the rift. But instead, I think we will take the north shore of Lake Gear, just over here. I believe it should be a slightly quicker route for us, and probably a bit more relaxing and easy to traverse. At least I hope so. Oh, look over there. Did you see? There was a rabbit just hopped across the road. Why don't we take a moment to... Oh, there's that rabbit again. A moment to enjoy the soothing sound of the water here flowing beneath us. Look how crystal clear it is. You can even see fish swimming around down there, and blue dart wings flitting about on the surface. And of course, we can see the magnificent throat of the world ahead of us. Its craggy heights reaching towards the sky. Beautiful wispy clouds blowing across its majestic peak. And our route will take us up, up, up the mountain. It's going to be quite the adventure, friends. And considering how many years we've been wandering like this together, I'm excited to be going somewhere we've never been before. Now wait, do you hear that? Not the loud bird. Because you could definitely hear that, but something below us, down there. Listen carefully. I think I can hear the telltale chime of a Nern root. Shall we go take a look, see if we can find the Nern root? And there it is, friends. Right there. Shall we take it for ourselves? Why not? One never knows when a Nern root might come in handy in one's travels. From here, we can enjoy a beautiful sun-soaked day on the north shore of Lake Gear. Lake Gear is, of course, so named because of the ruins at its center, which we'll get a better look at in just a moment. Well, we can't really see the ruin itself very well. It's beneath the earth, but we'll at least get a look at the island where the ruin is situated. There we are. At this island right here. is where one finds Gearman's Hall. This is the burial place of a mage of legend. It is said that this mage and his sons possessed great magic power, and one or maybe more than one of them is interred out there on the lake. Oh, we've got a wolf here. And of course, the wild creatures of Skyrim won't bother us in our wanders, but it's nevertheless prudent to avoid altercations with wolves. And they breathe so heavily as well. Their growling and heavy breathing can be less than relaxing. The air out here is fresh and sweet. Flowers in the meadows here, and the grasses lend this delightful aroma. It feels invigorating, refreshing, and of course, the incredible peaks of the High Gerals to the south tower over us. Truly majestic. There's so many birds out here in the rift. You rarely see them, but you can hear them at all times. Like a loon in the distance. We find ourselves once again on top of a rocky knoll. I thought I just saw a shadow pass overhead, but not from a dragon, just from a hawk, I believe. No need to panic. And now we have to find our way down from this rocky knoll. Once again, we must find a safe and relaxing way down. This looks like an appropriate path here. Just down this little ravine. And there we are. Oh, look ahead there. A majestic elk. There's so many butterflies out here in the rift as well. Dancing together here. Oh, and another creature. A deer. I didn't see it at first, but I heard it. Many creatures all coming together around this beautiful glade with the mountain flowers. Now, if we are very, very careful, we might be able to get up close to this elk. Hopefully, we don't alarm it. Look at this. Oh, very careful there, elk. I suppose we've learned a lesson to stay away from the antlers. Okay, we're just gonna stick to the back end here. Just give it a little pet. There, elk. Okay, we'll stop touching. We will leave you alone. You're just too fluffy to ignore. That was a slightly harrowing experience. One that I'm not in any rush to repeat. But now we can say we've touched an elk. Now this is a cozy looking little spot. This tent and campfire set up by somebody who was clearly here quite recently. Oh, well, I was going to say they must have gone out hunting, but I think I might see the occupant of this camp just over there. They're not looking so good. But, you know, I see a tankard down here on the ground. So, maybe they're just passed out after a night of heavy drinking. We're going to assume that, and we're going to move on. That's probably exactly what happened. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I'm going to have a killer headache when they wake up. And as you can see, we are approaching the hamlet of Ivarstead. Ivarstead. Let's get down to the main road here and head on in. Ivarstead is a quaint little spot, tucked here in the shadow of the mighty throat of the world, nestled right up against its flank. It's a small place, but it caters to the pilgrims who make their journey up the steps, scale the mountain. We, of course, are such pilgrims, but we are well prepared. We've got what we need, so we have no reason to stop here in Ivarstead, other than to admire the quaint buildings. The Vilemere Inn, a well-known rest stop for those preparing to ascend the mountain. The remainder of the local economy is comprised of the lumber mill here and the timber industry in general, as well as a little bit of farming, such as this. But despite being a beautiful, temperate landscape, the rift's soils are not well suited to farming, which is why farming is not a more important part of Ivarstead's economy. Well, friends, here we are at the beginning of the Great Ascent. The sound of the mighty waters here rushing down from the mountain, nearly drowning us out. It's a stunning spot, but we had best not linger. We must carry on our way, because we have an immense climb ahead of us. Just looking up at where we have to go is intimidating, I must admit, but together we can make it to High Hrothgar, I promise. Look at all these lovely fallen leaves all over the steps. They bring so much color to the landscape. shrines that mark the path up the mountain. They're frequented by pilgrims, and it's said that visiting all the way shrines will grant a blessing. Look at this shaggy little guy here. I said we wouldn't bother any more elk, but surely this little mountain goat is not going to harm us. Just one little pet here. Yeah. There, little goat. You know, for looking so fluffy, oh, the fur is surprisingly coarse. It seems to be enjoying itself. We will leave it to its munching and continue our way up the mountain. You know, if I had been planning properly, I might have said we should have stopped down at the Vilmere Inn and spent the night there before beginning our ascent, because I do believe that it's going to be nighttime before we reach the top. Another wolf along the path here, which we will stay away from. I know I have a penchant for petting all the animals here, but wolves are where I draw the line. Even if they do look very cute. And the good news is, friends, that I have brought with me some torches, so that if we need to light our way up the mountain, if night falls, we can do so. A lovely view across the rift here. So many colorful trees. It sounds like there might be more than one wolf back there, actually. Oftentimes, where there's one wolf, there are many wolves. They are, of course, social animals. They tend to live in packs. Folk knowledge says that there are 7,000 individual steps that lead up this mountain to High Hrothgar. I'm not bothering to count as we go, but oh hey, look, another traveler on the mountain. He looks like he's headed back down to Ivarstead so that he might get back before it gets dark. Whereas we are headed in completely the opposite direction. Oh dear friends. Did you hear that? It's looking like our sunny day has become a rainy one, and soon to be a snowy one. We can see our breath in the cold here. The air is definitely cooling down here. Here's another one of those way shrines that I mentioned. We best grab its blessing too, or part of blessing. We're going to need it to complete our journey here, no doubt, especially now that the weather has turned on us. was once bright and sunny. Now, the wind is starting to pick up. The fog has rolled in. The mountains are shrouded in cloud. And there in the east, we can see color in the sky. The sun must be starting to set. It's actually quite beautiful, isn't it? Especially now that the rain has turned to snow. Gently falling snow. Despite the whistling wind, the snow is quite gentle. We must be in the shelter of this rock face, I suppose. But I think it's going to get a fair bit snowier before we reach the summit. So we'd best keep moving, eh? Now you can see the wind starting to kick up the snow a little bit. Even the wolves here are looking snowy, as are we. The wind is definitely picking up now. The path is getting quite steep indeed. Goodness, there are a lot of wolves on this path. It's no wonder that any of the pilgrims survive the trip to the top, really. I was beginning to say earlier that folk knowledge states that there are 7,000 steps on the way up here, but I believe that that might be hyperbole. Perhaps we should have counted from the bottom. Another beautiful view of the rift here, and another friendly goat. These flags are being whipped by the wind up here. Oh, look at the powdered snow blowing coldly. Another way shrine. Clearly, people have been to this one, leaving offerings of, looks like gold and a thistle flower. It's actually quite pretty, isn't it? Very colorful. Now, it would be very disrespectful to take the offerings left here by pilgrims, so we shall leave it here. Leave it for whomever this way shrine is intended for. Truth be told, I'm not quite certain who the way shrines are for. Maybe it's to appease the Greybeards themselves. Now, despite the whistling wind, the snow remains quite gentle, for which I am very grateful. Perhaps we are slightly ill-prepared in retrospect for this weather, I didn't exactly think to bundle up, but we'll be fine, especially once we get to High Hrothgar. I'm certain of it. Well, we don't want to get snow all over our heads here, so let's duck down underneath this snow-laden branch. Much better. It's bitter cold, but it is truly inspiring out here in the mountains. This unrestrained, rugged wilderness. And look, as night begins to fall, Masser and Secunda are visible together in the sky. Absolutely beautiful. Perhaps, if we're lucky, we will get to experience the northern lights, the aurora borealis, a bit later tonight, if it clears up in time, of course. The last light of day is just clinging to the distant horizon. Another way shrine. This one lacking any offerings. These are, of course, snowberries. If we were to get lost up here in the mountains, they could provide us with adequate nourishment to survive the night, at least. If we had brought rations, of course. But we are seasoned travelers, and we certainly did. Look at the jagged silhouette of the Gerald Mountains. It's intimidating, like teeth. Down below, in the valley, shrouded in cloud, lies Helgen, somewhere way down there. You know, there's something mesmerizing about the gently falling snow, isn't there? Something so peaceful. Well, when we eventually reach High Hrothgar, we will have certainly earned our legendary ale. And when I spoke earlier about how this journey could become quite perilous, I was speaking of more than just the wolves, which we've seen so far. For example, this snow troll could be quite dangerous for the average traveler. Fortunately for us, it won't be bothering us. But we must never take the safety of our journeys for granted. Yet another way shrine here. And there they are, friends. The aurora borealis. Here I wasn't sure if we would see them on our wander today, snow. And I have managed to walk off the path because I am too busy staring at the sky. I'm not watching where we're going, which is quite dangerous when you're up in the mountains like this. Another way shrine. How many is that now? I haven't been counting. Truth is, though, I'm too enraptured with the beauty of the night sky to care much about the shrines anyway. And yet another one right here. There really are quite a few of them. No offerings there either. Perhaps we are so high up now that most travelers don't make it this far. Perhaps most pilgrims turn around by this point. But it was all worth it, if only even to enjoy this stunning sky. And I wonder if seeing it through my eyes makes it any more remarkable or spectacular for you, dear friend. Because for me, it's awe-inspiring. It makes me feel very small, but in a good way. And there it is, my friend. Hi, Hrothgar. This is what we came here for. It looks incredible, silhouetted against the brilliant colors in the sky. The wind up here is bitter cold. What an imposing but beautiful sight. Let's hope that the Greybeards have got a fire roaring for us inside for us to warm up. Well, it looks like some pilgrims have made it up here, at least. They've left all manner of offerings. I see another thistle flower. What could be nightshade, maybe? Mountain flowers. Over here, some kind of potion or elixir. And more herbs and flowers. Looks like dragon's tongue. Whew. It's getting too cold for my liking out here. Let's head on inside. It's definitely time for us to warm up. Oh, we've got to shake off all this snow. Oh, that cold wind whistling through the door is bone chilling. But the interior here, oh my goodness, it's so much warmer. That wind though. inside here is toasty warm, much warmer than I would have expected. The Greybeards have these braziers where we can warm up our chilly fingers. So many candles are lit here. It's quite beautiful, isn't it? I wonder if the candles have any religious significance for the Greybeards. The Greybeards themselves are sworn to silence, for the power of their voice is such that but a whisper from them could be devastating. And so they live here in silence, meditating, praying. Oh, look. You can see through the hole in the ceiling out to the aurora in the sky. And here we have a statue to mighty Talos, whose worship has been banned across Skyrim. But the Greybeards, they still believe. They keep the old faith. Now, we turn to our true task. That is to find ourselves that legendary ale. And it looks like we may have come to the right place. This appears to be a kitchen of sorts. It's a bit dark in here, so I'm gonna bring out a torch to help us look around. There we are. Let's take a peek over here, shall we? This is all sorts of alchemical supplies, which perhaps the Greybeards would use when brewing. Although I'd best be careful not to get this torch too close to these books. What are they reading here anyway? The something of the Redoran. The hope of the Redoran, I think. And something I can't quite read there. Down here, all sorts of mushrooms, fungus, lichen, and such. What's all this? There's a potion, frost salts, death bell, I believe. And lavender, I think we have here. That's what it looks like. And up here, what have we got? Another book that I can't read upside down on the spine. Oh, goodness me. We're making a mess of things. Let's see if we can check the cover. Nope, nothing on the covers. On the spine, though, it says something Akatosh dichotomy. Let's place it back here. Oh, the Aldwin Akatosh dichotomy. Sure. Well, no doubt the Greybeards here are well read. I suppose there's not a lot to do when you are cloistered away and silently praying all the time. So reading becomes a very popular pastime, I expect. Here we've got all manner of fungi and an alchemical table with no sign of the legendary ale, sadly. Now, another table over here, covered in books and scrolls. Here's another copy of the Alduin-Akatosh dichotomy. No beer to be found down here. Just a bunch of moldy scrolls. What do you think this book is? The Wimmer Inquiries, Volume 1 by the looks of it. We'll leave that there. Oh, this one has a neat, lovely cover. Is that a Wisp Mother? Oh, it is. The book is called The Wisp Mother. Oops, that was a little more violent than I intended. Well, still no sign of that ale. Oh, looks like our torch has run out, which is okay. We do have more. But let's see here. Does any of this look like legendary ale? I don't believe so, unfortunately. I see a potion, some wine, perhaps, but no legendary ale. Over here, many cheeses. But here, let's pull out another torch for better luck. Oh. There we are. Yes, indeed. Several different kinds of aged cheeses. Some sacks full of who knows what. Potatoes, perhaps. Other root vegetables. But no legendary ale. What's that ruckus? Oh. This Greybeard appears to have made a bit of a mess. It has knocked over the ingredients we were looking at earlier and some books. I suppose they're just so preoccupied with their theological studies that they care not for the mundane objects of this world. We'll leave that mess to them to clear up. Oh, what's this? Dear friends, I think we might have found what we were searching for. These unassuming bottles here. Yes, the subtle effervescence. The bubbles sparkling within. This must be them. Look. Look at the way those bubbles glimmer from within. This is exactly what I heard about, exactly as described. The legendary brew of the Greybeards. Well, I'm definitely going to hang on to that bottle, and we're going to make our way over this way and find a nice, cozy spot to have a drink. You know, I was thinking to myself as we look looked at all those books back there, this would be a lovely, comfy spot for a relaxing book reading. So sorry, sirs, we're not here to bother you. This fellow here is demonstrating exactly what I was suggesting. A relaxing read. It's warm and cozy in here. And I think it would be a perfect place to settle down with a good book and enjoy a nice story. For now, though, it's all about the ale, which I will gently place down here. There we are. And let's put our torch away. I don't think we need it now that we have this roaring fire ahead of us. And let us take a seat, shall we? Well, this is cozy indeed, my friends. At the end of a long journey together, we find ourselves sat before a crackling fire, warming our bones and our chilly extremities after such an epic and cold adventure. And it truly does feel fitting, given that we've traveled all over this land from one end to another, seen so much of the landscape, yet we've never been here in Hrothgar. And so today, on the 11th anniversary of our meeting, we celebrate what has brought us together here. We celebrate the many long years we have spent together, enjoying one another's company and soaking in the beautiful sights and sounds of Skyrim. And we celebrate this legendary ale. Cheers, my friends. Now that is an ale to remember. These Greybeards, they certainly know how to make a legendary brew. And now, my dear friends, I am starting to get a little bit sleepy. Between the ale, which was not weak, and the warmth of this hearth, I think I'm going to take a nap, and you can join me. There's a chair over there for you. The perfect place to end a perfect, epic journey. And there are many more journeys to come, to be sure, my friends, to be sure. Thank you for joining me once again after all this time. No matter how many years we've wandered together here, I always look forward to having you along again next time. Good night for now, my friends. Speaking of stalwart traveling companions, those who have been here for quite some time, and those who so kindly support what I do here in Skyrim and beyond, I must give a very special thanks, of course, to this channel's supporters on Patreon and YouTube. memberships, whom you can see here. These epic heroes of legend help me produce the kind of content that I love the most, like these Skyrim wonders, and the kind of content which you hopefully enjoy a lot as well. I cannot thank them enough, and that is why I thank them in every single one of my videos. If you, dear viewer or listener, have been adventuring here with us for some time, and you have derived some relaxation or enjoyment from my content, and if you would like to directly support what I do here, please consider taking a look at the links down below at the top of the video description. You will find links there to my Patreon and my YouTube memberships. Each of them has the same perks, more or less, and there are 3 tiers for each. I'm sure you can find a tier that is right for you. At the very appropriately named Foos tier, you get your name in these credits in every video and early access to my weekend videos, generally, with a very few exceptions, but generally. This video being one such exception that I did not have prepared in time for early access for our dear patrons and YouTube members, which I apologize for. But 90% of the time, let's say early access, 95% of the time, I haven't done the math, something like that. At the Foos Row tier, those individuals get to additionally vote in a monthly poll to select the topic of a video on this channel each month. I am about to post this month's poll for February 2024, and so if you are interested in having a say in the direction of this channel and the kind of content you see here, well, now would be a great time to join up at the Foos Row or higher tier. Speaking of which, we just had a new sign up at the Foos Row tier on the Patreon. Please welcome Cow GBA into the Foos Row tier and the supporter family. Cow GBA, thank you so much for your kind support and for being a part of all this. Welcome to the Patreon. And finally, at the Foos Row tier, again, extremely appropriate given the location of this video. At the legendary Foos Row tier, we have a handful of supporters who get a very special spoken shout out in every single one of my videos. It is the least I can do for them. It is certainly very well deserved, and much more for them. But you are about to hear the names of our Foos Row supporters, these legendary heroes, starting with Ragnar Ragnarsson, Rango Steel, Jake Luffney, Odin's Son, K Time, and Drummer Brit. A fantastic, amazing group of folks, and that goes for everybody here. As I've said many a time, the support of our patrons and YouTube members means so very much to me. So thank you once again, channel supporters.